We have Maurice is going to be our grammarian, and as grammarian we would like him to present us with the word of the day.
The word of the day is apposite, not opposite, apposite, which means suitable, well adapted, pertinent, relevant, apt. Apposite. It's like opposite, you drop the first O and replace it with an A.
Is there a second pronunciation for that word?
Opposite. Yeah, apposite or opposite. Opposite or AP use it.
All right, we are getting some feedback from the computer in the back.
Okay, yeah, Maurice, I was going to ask if you could check the microphone, because I'm only hearing about every 1 out of 10 words. It's like something's blocking the microphone.
All right.
I should have dropped it. Next week I'll bring my microphone. I have a professional microphone that I can bring, and we could set it up in the back of the room and he will hear it with no
Well, next week I'm actually going to be in the room.
Woohoo! All right.
Well, it's actually needed.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll actually get to see it live and in person. Okay, well, let us continue then. We also have 2 speakers this evening. We have Cody, or I guess Justin is back. So Justin, you will still be topic master?
Yes.
Okay, so Justin will be our topic master. Yu Ying is the general evaluator.
Maurice is working now.
Okay.
We also have Julius is going to be the first evaluator. Cody is going to be the second evaluator. Who is going to be our timer? Teddy, would you like to be timer? I'm sorry. Am I talking to the wrong person? All right, yes, that's blah, blah, blah. Would you like to be our timer? I'm sorry, you're, I'm very bad at this. I'm very sorry. Marlo. Marlo, would you like to be our timer?
I didn't bring anything. Time. Do you guys have a timer set?
I can let you use my phone if you'd like. It's fairly easy, and you, I'll get you in there just for the sake of well-being. And I'm just going to put you on stopwatch. Now, okay? Okay, and that's going to be our program for this evening. So, let us get right into our educational program. As we know, our speakers are going to give a speech this evening. Our first speaker, Thomas Jester, is going to be giving a speech on getting out of debt using the debt snowball. This is going to be a 5 to 7 minute speech. It comes from the Confident Communicator Manual, speech number 8, Get Comfortable with Visual Aids. Thomas Jester, getting out of debt using a debt snowball.
So, I'll be over here instead of at the lectern tonight, so that I'm kind of close to where you guys are all looking already for this presentation. We're going to talk about getting out of debt using a debt snowball. Real quick, because this is a technical term in the financial industry now, a debt snowball is just a method of getting out of debt other than paying the bare minimum payment to everything. That's all. It's not something super fancy and crazy. It's just a different method than paying the minimum payment, and once it's paid off, the money's yours. What happens in a debt snowball is that you're going to take the money from the first debt you pay off, and you're just going to take whatever you were paying towards it and move it into that next debt. Debt snowballs come in two varieties. The first, typically called the typical snowball, is attacking the lowest balance first. The second has become being called a debt avalanche. And this is where you will attack the highest interest-bearing debt you have first. So if it's a credit card at 15% compared to your car loan at 3%, you're going to pay off the credit card before the car loan, even if the car loan is smaller, in the debt avalanche. In the debt snowball, you pay in reverse, based on whichever is the... Mathematically, the debt avalanche is better, it saves you more money. However, most people didn't get into debt because they're mathematically set. Most people who got into debt messed up some math somewhere in a checkbook once, and it just slowly builds up from there to have enough debt that they're actually worried about it. So the snowball is about psychology more than mathematics. So I set up a very rudimentary, this is not my household. Mine, I have one more student loan, so mine's slightly worse off than this. So my wife and I both have degrees. Her with a master's degree means we have slightly more debt than this when we started our debt snowball. So we have 2 credit cards, 2 auto loans, like most married families, and then 1 student loan. And we're almost done paying that, is what we're saying for this scenario. Various differentiating interest rates, I did go and look them up. They are legit. These are the type of interest rates you're getting on these things today, this day and age. So these are not like, oh, well, I pulled stuff to make it look good. This is what you would get, depending on your credit history and your personal situation. Minimum payments also reflect that. So a total, you're spending $1,000 just paying off your debt every month. No matter what, if this was your debt load was, $1,000 of your income, before you've even paid your rent, has to go to pay these creditors or they'll start taking stuff back. So the big reason to get out of debt is so that you have $1,000 that you don't have to give to anybody else. So we're just going to look at some comparisons. So I charted out how long it would take to pay off things. Notice that we're talking 104 months at the end of this. That's how long it would take you to pay off all of your debt if you just paid the minimum payment until it was paid off and went on to the next one. So you're not speeding up anything. 104 months from the day you decided to start, which was with those balances that we saw in the beginning. If you just did a regular debt snowball, debt snowballs and debt avalanches have very straight lines because you don't stop paying the number. You're paying $1,000 a month the whole time, but you're only paying it 54 months. You've cut out 50 months. 50 months is less than a car loan, but not by much. Typical car loans, 60 months, 5 years. So you've gotten out of debt almost 5 years earlier. Just by, I've already set aside $1,000 to pay this off, I'm just going to keep paying it off. And this is attacking that lowest one first. If you use the debt avalanche method, well, that's so well, if you say, I'm going to cut out coffee and something else, and I'm going to get $75 a month to be able to spend on something. You can cut it down to 50 and truly get that whole car loan back in time. The debt avalanche is barely better. It only takes you 53 months instead of 54. But that savings is because you're paying off that interest faster. If you add 75 to it, you save an additional 2 months compared to the debt snowball. Just looking at it as hard numbers, 105 months with no debt snowball, a total paid a $58,000 on your initial $44,000 in debt. You look at a regular debt snowball, you'll only pay $54,000, save yourself $4,000 and 5 years of your life in debt. The most extreme debt avalanche saves you almost $6,000, but gets you out of debt in less than the amount of time it takes to pay off a car. And that was just by continuing, finding $75, more than you have a month now paying the debt, and just paying what you already start paying anyways. The debt snowball is a simple tool. There are way more complex ways to get out of debt, and they get you out of debt even faster. But it's something simple that it doesn't take a math genius or an engineer to figure out how to do it and implement it. My wife and I, as I've told you, we have slightly more debt than this because we went to, unfortunately, to a lot of college and it wasn't cheap. And the last year, using this method, my wife and I have paid off $20,000 in debt and only have $40,000 more to go. Meaning that by, not next summer, but the summer of 2019, my wife and I should have no debt what to speak of, other than our house. It freeing up a total of $2,000 a month that we're currently paying mostly to student loans for the education that we got, to give us good jobs that can make it so that we can afford to pay off all this debt. So I encourage all of you, no matter what your debt level is, to look at this as an option to get yourself out of debt and free yourself from that burden. Mr. Toastmasters.
Yes, yes, very, very good news. I actually did a little bit of financial services once upon a time, long, long ago. And this is one of those great things that you learn in that process. Now, another interesting aspect of this, he talks about adding a little bit more money on top of that. Well, what is the easiest way to add a little bit more money on that? When you get a raise in income, you don't raise your standard of living. So if you get an extra $50 a month as a new pay raise, then that $50 a month goes into your debt. You stay at the same standard of living, but you increase the amount of money that goes to debt payoff. So that's another one, and over that 5 years, most of us would be able to get at least one pay raise through our company that could increase that speed and increase that. I do like this stuff because working in the oil patch, I see a very interesting thing. And I'm sorry, this is just getting a little bit of a side, but this is one of those things I love. Is dealing with money that I already have. But in the oil patch, people make a ton of money. All right, 2 years ago, with my license, working offshore, I could have made between $1,000 and $1,500 a day working offshore. Okay, now a lot of people were making that kind of money, and the oil field crashed. And what happened? You look in the little county shopper magazines. Everybody's selling their truck. Everybody's selling their house. Everybody's selling everything. Why? They didn't save any money. They live in southern Alabama. $60,000 a year is easily a comfortable income, a comfortable living. $100,000 a year, you're upper middle class. There's no reason to spend more than that. If you're making a $200,000 a year income, you can easily put enough money away to pay all your debts and get a substantial amount for, especially when you're in an industry that historically always crashes every 7 to 10 years. And then you're out of a job. But people don't think like that. So it's that little tweak in your thinking that creates that real avalanche. Thank you very much. Sorry for the aside there. I don't need to take away your bluster. It was a really good speech, and I really think that we could learn a lot from that. But now, another exciting adventure we have, going from the deep and heavy financial world to the world of joy and happiness. I would like to invite up our second speaker, Heather Tran, who's going to speak on how to count music. This is also Confident Communicator Manual number 8. Get comfortable with visual aids, which is also a 5 to 7 minute speech. And this is how to count music.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Stop.
Okay. I'm going to put this up. I'll put this up in a second. Okay. The girl is sitting in the band room. She's sitting with the rest of the flute players in the band. The teacher has had enough and is about to make an example of her. He stops the music, and one by one he asks the flute players to play this rhythm that at least one of them has been missing. The girl waits, and the suspension practically kills her until it becomes her. He's gone down the line, and now it's her turn. As she raises her shaking hands and struggles to puff out a sound, it's clear. She has no idea how to count music. This girl was me. I wasn't always happy in band. Scratch that. I hated band, and I would for the rest of middle school and the first 2 years of high school. I would hate it as I endured 5 years of embarrassment in sitting in the last chair. Until one day, the day that would mark the beginning of the end, the beginning of music. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the cringing feeling of having to admit that you have no idea how to do something, or that you have no idea what something is actually about. Up until the summer before I became a junior, I could hardly play a note, not to mention I had no idea how to read or count music. I actually remember one day sitting on the last row, watching our top player and thinking how I would never play her part. Luckily for me, I had the best, most patient man I have ever known as my high school band teacher. Because of him, counting music is now my biggest strength. Because I sat myself down and had patience to learn how to count, in about 6 months I became the second-ranked flute player in my high school out of about 14 girls, while for the last 5 years I had been dead last. I would finish high school with a grin from ear to ear and 5 medals awarded to me at our spring concert for my performance in the solo and ensemble festival of that year. Now that I've bragged, I'm going to share with you how to count music in case you may have ever wondered what all those funny squiggles and dots mean, or in case you want to try to pick up an instrument. Okay, so. Okay. So, first things first, every note in the entire world looks like this, like a dot, okay? Since we don't have a lot of time, we're just going to talk about what's called common time, or 4/4. So, music is made of things called measures. Measures hold notes. In 4/4, you can count 4 beats in each measure. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the simplest note, or maybe not the simplest, but a note that is 4 beats long is called a whole note. And this is what it looks like. Okay? So you would count it as, like if you started this note, you would count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's just that one note. Now, if you had a half note, you would have 2 half notes in one measure, and each half note would be like 2 beats. So while this would be 4 beats, each of these would be 2 beats. So you can count it as 1, 2 for the first one, 3, 4 for the second one. Now, in the third measure, you could have 4 beats, since each measure has 4 beats, and subsequently 4 quarter notes. See how this is a whole note, a half note, and a quarter note. There's a pattern. Like, you'll notice how a whole note, if you add a stem, it becomes a half note, see? And if you fill in the hole, it becomes a quarter note. If you wanted to go even further, you could add a flag to a quarter note to make it an 8th note, or another flag to make it a 16th note, and then yet again, another flag to make it a 32nd note. But we won't get into that. We won't get into that. I'm just saying that there's a pattern. Okay, so anyway, let's see. As I mentioned before, every note looks like a dot, just like a simple circle. So, let me get my metronome, and it's just this thing that makes like a clicking sound, and I'll try to demonstrate how you would count these 3 measures. Okay? So let's see. Go about this fast. So if I'm starting here and I say 1, 2, ready, go, and then I'm going to start counting this. Okay? So 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because each of these start on a beat. So how about you guys try clapping a whole note with me? Just a whole note, just the first measure. So I'll say 1, 2, ready, go, and then we'll just clap after I say go. Okay? 1, 2, ready. Very close. Okay, so let's try clapping 2 half notes. Okay, so when I say go, then it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, because each of them is 2 beats. Okay? Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly. See? Now we'll try the third measure, okay? And it's just quarter notes, and they're half the value of a half note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so after I say go, we'll clap this measure together. Okay? Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? You know how to count music now. Okay, so you guys count, and I'll play my flute. Okay? So, Maurice, how about you say 1, 2, ready, go, and then everybody will play, like, clap, and I'll play, okay? We'll just start here, and then we'll finish with this measure, okay?
1.
Oh, could you say it with the metronome?
Oh.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you say, just like 1, 2, 3, go, and then, okay.
Okay, with the metronome.
Yes, okay.
1, 2, 3, go.
Now, see? So now you know how to count music. See? Now that we've done that, well, this isn't everything, but this is the foundational work. It's really important that the foundation is very solid. So now I'm going to play a song that I'm sure any of you could play if you wanted to sit down with the instrument and practice for a month or so. Okay? This music that you'll probably was in 5th grade when they were showing all the students the instruments, and it kind of inspired me to want to learn how to play the flute. It's pretty simple. Music, and you've learned what a whole note is and a half note and a quarter note, and you know how to count it. I really hope that you've learned something from this, and that maybe this has inspired you to have a little more music in your life. And I just want to say that it's been really fulfilling for me to have learned how to play an instrument, and I would not be the person I am today without it. So with that, I hope this has given you a good foundation of what music should be like and how you should start off and everything. Mr. Toastmaster.
Very nice, very nice. It's quite interesting. I really have to respect anyone who does such a thing, because I had the opportunity when I was young to learn how to play the flute. And I was in the last chair, and then I was in no chair at all. So to actually stick it out for 5 years in the last chair, I have to bow down in respect to that. So very nice speech. Thank you very much. Now, for the most exciting part of our evening, let's go into table topics, when we all have the opportunity to spontaneously speak in front of a small audience. I'd like to introduce our topic master for this evening, Mr. Justin Guest.
Thank you. Okay, so on to table topics, the most exciting part of our meeting. So Mark, what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done? Do you need me to repeat that one?
So I heard,
Okay.
this thing you've ever done. Well, I try to focus my spontaneity. So I put a lot of effort into planning being spontaneous. So it ends up, I'm not usually very spontaneous. I think probably one of the most unusual things that I've done was way back 30 years ago when I was planning our wedding and honeymoon. Decided that we would go to a place called Couples in Jamaica. And it has a nude island just offshore. And so we didn't want to actually go out there with other people and be nude in front of other people. So we decided we would get up extra early one morning and we swam out to the nude island. And then somebody working at the resort came out and started cleaning, and so we swam back with our clothes on. So I would say that's probably the most unusual, spontaneous thing that I've ever done, even though we planned it.
All right, Mark, that's great. I'm trying to not get a visual on that. Cody, what's the best decision you ever made?
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. The best decision I've ever made. Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess I'll have to say deciding to become a mechanical engineer early on in my exit of high school, because it's given me a platform of financial security, a good solid job, and it's really enabled me to kind of get a grasp on what I want to do. So it enabled me to meet all my hierarchy of needs, and now I'm at a point where I can kind of drill down on what I really want to accomplish in my life and work on the bigger goals and things like that. So I really appreciate the ability to go and obtain a mechanical engineering degree and get a good job. So that's probably the best decision I've made so far in my life.
Thank you. Wing, when you have a random hour of free time, what do you usually do? How do you spend that free hour?
My free hour? Actually, different time I do different things. Recently, because I'm leading in Chinese Christian fellowship, I'm leading the Bible study, so I use my most of the time to study the Bible and listening to the online search, online they teaching how explain the Bible, and I can tell them, answer them question. I don't want to like a blind teacher and leading our student to the home. So that's why recently I use my time. And also I exercise every day, swim.
Running out of time? Okay, well, we'll move on to the running out of time here, so we'll move on to the next part of our meeting. So I will hand the lectern over to our Toastmaster.
So now, the final part of our education is going to be the evaluation process, and I would like to invite our general evaluator, Ewing Wang, to come up and lead the evaluation process.
So far, I think we have a great meeting. I really like the two speakers speak. And first time I don't think I can count the music skills, but for you it's okay. Okay, so very interesting. And snowball, that's a good idea. And we like, who is the first evaluator? Okay. Oh, okay.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, and most importantly, Thomas. Thomas' speech was that snowball. The objective of the speech was to use visual aids along with the speech. I'll just go down what the criteria was asking for. Were the visual aids appropriate for the speech? The message I said excellent. Did each visual aid help you to understand and remember the speaker's point? Excellent, yes. Was each visual aid clearly visible? Yes. How clear was the speaker's purpose? Very clear. Get out of debt, or provide some ways to get out of debt. Did the speaker use visual aids smoothly and with confidence? Yes, working very well. Was the speaker's word choice effective and appropriate? Yes. Was the speech well researched? You mentioned several ways to get into debt reduction, as well as mentioning that there were other ways to do it as well. Question: what could the speaker have done differently to make the speech more effective? I said your opening, you kind of just jump right into it. Probably a little more build up would have been appropriate. what did you like about the speech? I like the speech. It was like real examples. During this time, it's very opposite to talk about debt reduction. You gave a call to action, and you didn't use any notes. I like that about it. The speech was something that we could all relate to again. Debt is something everybody deals with. American is trillions of dollars in debt, and partly because a lot of people don't know how to manage the debt. Having given us that speech, I feel that it was opposite for the times that we have. Good work. Madam President, congratulations.
Okay. The second evaluator is Cody.
All right, I have the pleasure of evaluating Heather's speech tonight, how to read music. So, were the visual aids appropriate for the speech message? I'd say yes, they were excellent. Had a nice whiteboard to demonstrate musical notes and the flute. It's a nice touch. Did the visual aids help you understand and remember the speaker's point? Yes, I think so. To go over music, it helps to kind of write it down as you go through it, and I thought that was good. Were the visual aids clearly visible? Yes, I could see it. I could see the drawings. She didn't use computer-aided visual aids, so not applicable. Did the visual aids go smoothly and she used them with confidence? A little, I'd say satisfactory on that. A little issues with the start. The thing fell down, but yeah. How clear is the speaker's purpose? Very clear. She gave an intro story about why she's passionate about music and then went on to teach us how to read music. Did the speaker use body language to reinforce the message? Yes, she did some hand claps to demonstrate the notes. Were the speaker's word choice effective and appropriate? I thought so, yes. Was the speech well researched? Yes. She's obviously an expert of the flute, and that showed with the knowledge she gave us. What could she have done better to improve the speech? I would say maybe practice a little bit more with visual aids, set it up, and work on the angle you want to write it. It might have been helpful. It's kind of tough getting in behind this thing. What did I like about speech? I enjoyed the intro story, helped me see why you were so passionate about learning music in the first place and why you chose the speech topic. And also like the demonstrations. It was a nice way to end the speech. Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters, for speaker number 1, Thomas, his speech was 7 minutes, 12 seconds. Heather, her speech was 10 minutes, 23 seconds. For table topics, it's not really all. For table topics, Mark was 1 minute, 34 seconds. Cody, 59.6 seconds. Ewing, 52.9 seconds. For the evaluator number 1, it was 2 minutes. And the evaluator number 2, Cody, 1 minute, 55 seconds.
Okay, for Graham Mary's report, I only heard the word of the day used once by Julius. Has anyone else used it?
No, it was Julius twice.
Oh, twice. Okay, twice. Okay, as far as myself, Lawrence, Heather, Mark, Cody, Yu Ying, Justin, Julius, and Marlo. As far as other filler words, Cody had Heather had a like, and Heather had a double word during her speech. You know, she started to say the word, she stopped, and she said it again. And then I have a question to anyone who's, I guess, a good grammarian. What about the usage of the word so? Is that inappropriate?
Depends on how it's used.
Thomas did a lot of transition.
Yeah.
That was my photo today.
Okay.
It's like he's doing.
So that's, otherwise, that's the grammarian's report.
Thank you. And get back to the.
Thank you.
It's the safest transit.
All right. And that concludes this portion of the meeting, and I would like to bring our president back up to close the meeting.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters, there are no awards tonight, but we have 3 people who are 2 speeches away from getting their Competent Communicator Award. That's Cody, Thomas, and Heather. Oh, 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you're in your 8. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No, I didn't. There is no educational overview for tonight. And we'll just ask the Vice President, the current Vice President of Education, to give the agenda for next week.
Okay. So far, I have nobody who has signed up for a specifically next week for a speech. So is there anybody who has a speech ready for next week? Mark, seeing as you're going to be live, do you have one?
Yeah, I'll do one.
All right. Cool beans. So sign up on it and I'll hook you in.
All right.
Okay. I have Katie as general evaluator. Don't know how that's going to work. Ewing, I have you as a speech evaluator. Okay. I have Heather as another speech evaluator. Thomas, you still reserve speaker because you have so many in the works. Okay, hopefully we won't need you. Justin will be table topics. And,
Rotate that one?
oh, yeah, that's, I'm sorry, somehow that got screwed up. Yeah, so, let's see, who's, Cody,
I'm
you're,
not 100% sure if I'm going to be here, but I'll
okay,
let
I have you down as Toastmaster at the moment.
Okay. I'll
And
update
we'll work with that as it comes up. So if there's anybody who has something that they want to do, there are a couple things in here that will be open for you to get online and volunteer. I will send out a volunteer message shortly. Don't know how I got you twice. Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay, it's 7:44, about to turn 7:45. The speech is adjourned.
Good work. All right.
Okay. Yeah, well, hopefully.
Margaret, see you next week.
All right, see you next week.
Be alive.
Airbnb.
Hey, this is
Are you going for what now?
I just paid it as it stands.
All right, see you.
like,
My dad's going there.
Unless you can take a lower interest loan.